Hello, my name is Brother Brian Vicaro. I'm a seminarian with the Redemptorists here at St. Gerard's Parish in San Antonio, Texas. Our gospel reading today comes from Luke chapter 1, verses 39 to 45. Mary set out in those days and traveled to the hill country in haste, to a town of Judah where she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the infant leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth, filled with the Holy Spirit, cried out in a loud voice and said, "Most blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how does this happen to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? For at the moment the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the infant in my womb leaped for joy. Blessed are you who believed that what was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled." Many of us are aware of the hustle and bustle that are involved with welcoming a new child into a home. Whether the child is an adopted child or a newborn baby, preparations must be made in order to prepare the house and the family to receive the child. And these preparations include things like preparing a room where the child will sleep, getting clothing for the child, getting toys for the child. If it's a newborn baby, getting things like formula and diapers for the baby. And I'm sure that when Mary heard that she was going to become a mother, similar concerns and worries and preparations went through her mind as she thought, how am I going to do this? She had an additional concern in that she thought, I'm sure to herself, how is Joseph going to respond? Is he going to believe me that God made me pregnant? Even though she was dealing with these concerns and these issues and thinking about these preparations, she never lost her focus on God. She always kept focused and recognized that she was the handmaid of the Lord. Her job was to do the will of God. And so she said yes. And not only did she do that, but when she heard from the angel that Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant, Mary took her worries, her concerns, the preparations that she needed to do, and she put them on the back burner so that she could go and focus on Elizabeth and on Elizabeth's needs. She traveled, as our gospel tells us, to visit Elizabeth. And during her time with Elizabeth, although the gospel doesn't tell us what she did, we can presume that she did various things in order to help Elizabeth prepare for her new baby. Things such as maybe sewing clothes, maybe making toys, preparing the house, helping Elizabeth when Elizabeth wasn't feeling well. All things that were important and would enable Elizabeth and Zechariah to welcome their baby when it came time for him to be born. Mary put the needs of Elizabeth ahead of her own. During this Advent season, we can experience a hustle and bustle also. Now, given the situation with Corona, things are a little bit different. But typically during Advent, we go shopping and we are buying gifts. We're wrapping gifts and writing cards. We're decorating our houses. We're making food. We're visiting people. We're going to Christmas concerts. We have all of these things that we put on our to-do list, and they are things that we want to get done before Christmas. They are not bad things. They're good things. But sometimes our to-do list becomes so important and we are so focused on it that we take our focus off of the reason for the season. God is the reason for this Advent and Christmas season. God came 2,000 plus years ago as our Redeemer. And this coming is what we are celebrating in the Christmas season. Yet sometimes we are so focused on our to-do list that we forget about God. And we don't take steps to focus on God during this Advent season. Steps such as having time for quiet prayer, making use of the sacraments of the Eucharist and reconciliation, doing spiritual reading. We are so focused on the to-do list, we forget God. We also sometimes are so focused on what we need to do for Christmas and these preparations that we forget about the needs of others. We fail to recognize those in our families, in our communities, our co-workers, our relatives who are struggling, whether they're struggling with a sickness, or maybe the loss of a job, or homelessness, or a broken relationship. We fail to recognize their needs, and we fail to act like Mary, where we reach out and try to help them as best we can. As we go through these final days of Advent, let us hold up Mary as an example for how we should take these last couple of days. Mary, while going through and having preparations that she needed to do for her pregnancy, kept focused on God, recognized the needs of Elizabeth, and went to Elizabeth to help her. May we also, during these last days of Advent, keep our focus on God and keep our focus and recognize the needs of others, so that while doing the preparations that we need to do, when we get to Christmas, we can look back and we can say, I kept my focus on God and I tried to address the needs of others.